Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Before continuing, please review the legal disclaimer provided in the comment section of this video and make sure to see the video till the end to get a full understanding of how it all works. On this channel, we share practical guidance on visa processes, immigration pathways, investment and citizenship options, and related topics to help you make informed decisions. If you are unsure about your visa options or planning your next step, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so you stay updated with the latest developments. And now, here comes a cracker. A lot of people in New Zealand think that if they want access to Europe, they need hundreds of thousands of dollars for a golden visa, a highly paid job offer, or a complex migration pathway that takes years to figure out. But there's actually a little-known option that can quietly open doors into the European Union for the price of a domestic weekend getaway from Auckland to Queenstown. And no, I'm not talking about buying property in Portugal or getting sponsored by a German company. I'm talking about Estonia's e-residency program, one of the smartest digital identity systems in the world, and why more globally minded New Zealanders, freelancers, online entrepreneurs, consultants, remote workers, and future EU migrants are starting to use it as a stepping stone into Europe. Now, before we continue, let's be very clear about what this is and what it is not. Estonia's e-residency is not citizenship. It is not a residence visa. It is not permanent residency. And it does not automatically let a Kiwi move to Europe tomorrow. What it does give you is something incredibly powerful in today's world: a government-issued European digital identity that allows you to legally operate inside the EU business ecosystem from New Zealand. And that matters far more than most people realize. Estonia is one of the most digitally advanced countries on Earth. You can register a company there online, sign legal documents digitally, access EU financial infrastructure, and run an international business remotely from almost anywhere in the world. For New Zealanders, this is particularly interesting because New Zealand is already viewed very positively internationally. Kiwi passport holders generally have a strong reputation, high trust factor, and good visa access globally. So when you combine a New Zealand passport with an EU digital business presence, you suddenly become far more globally mobile and internationally credible. And unlike many expensive migration programs, Estonia's e-residency application is relatively inexpensive. The state fee is currently around $150 to $165 depending on timing and pickup location. That's it. Now, of course, there are additional costs if you actually establish and maintain a company, accounting, virtual office, compliance, banking, and so on. But compared to traditional European migration pathways, this is incredibly accessible. So how does it actually work? You go to the official Estonian e-residency portal and apply online. You upload your passport, a passport photo, and a short explanation about why you want e-residency. Most legitimate applicants get approved unless there are security concerns. Once approved, you collect your e-residency kit from the nearest Estonian pickup point. For many New Zealanders, that may involve pickup through an embassy or partner collection location overseas, depending on availability. Inside the kit, you receive your secure digital ID card, PIN codes, and a card reader. And once activated, you now have access to Estonia's digital ecosystem. Now here's where this becomes really interesting for people in New Zealand. A huge number of Kiwis already work remotely, freelance internationally, run online businesses, trade globally, consult overseas, or want location independence. But one of the biggest limitations New Zealanders face is scale and distance. New Zealand is geographically isolated. The domestic market is small. And if you want to seriously expand internationally, eventually you need a stronger foothold closer to Europe, the Middle East, or global markets. That's where Estonia can become strategically useful. Once you have e-residency, you can establish an Estonian OÜ, essentially their version of a private limited company, and suddenly, you have an EU company, an EU business presence, access to European clients, European invoicing, European banking integrations, and much easier access to international fintech systems. This is especially powerful for IT consultants, developers, designers, marketing agencies, AI businesses, coaches, e-commerce operators, content creators, YouTubers, SaaS founders, and remote service providers. Instead of looking like a tiny isolated operation from the bottom of the South Pacific, you now operate under a recognized European framework, and perception matters in business. Now, one thing many people misunderstand is taxation. Just because you create an Estonian company does not automatically mean you stop paying tax in New Zealand. If you are still tax resident in New Zealand, inland revenue may still tax your worldwide income depending on your structure and circumstances. So, this is not some magic avoid tax loophole. That's not what serious internationalization is about. What it can do, however, is give you international diversification, operational flexibility, access to European business systems, and potentially future migration pathways. And that's where things get really interesting. Because while e-residency itself is not immigration, it can become part of a broader long-term strategy for New Zealanders who eventually want European residency, European permanent residency, or even European citizenship someday. Here's why. Once you are actively operating an EU company, building relationships in Europe, working with European clients, and integrating economically into the ecosystem, you can eventually transition into physical relocation pathways. For example, you may secure employment with an Estonian company. You may qualify for entrepreneur-based visas, startup visas, digital nomad pathways, or longer-term residence permits. Estonia itself has multiple residence categories, and once you legally live there long enough, permanent residency and eventually citizenship can potentially become possible under the country's naturalization rules. Now, this is not fast, this is not automatic, and this is not guaranteed. But compared to many traditional migration systems, it's a very low-cost way to begin building a European footprint while still living comfortably in New Zealand. And for many Kiwis, that's becoming increasingly attractive, because more New Zealanders today are quietly thinking, what happens if the NZ economy slows further? What if housing remains unaffordable? What if opportunities continue shifting overseas? What if I want optionality for my children? What if I want access to larger markets? And increasingly, globally mobile New Zealanders are realizing that waiting until there's a crisis is usually too late. The people who succeed internationally are the ones who build options before they urgently need them. That's why programs like Estonia's e-residency matter, not because they instantly change your life overnight, but because they help you start building international infrastructure, a second banking ecosystem, a second business jurisdiction, a second commercial identity, potential future migration pathways, access to Europe, and optionality. Now, another fascinating angle here for New Zealanders is employment. Estonia has become one of Europe's leading startup ecosystems. Despite having a tiny population, it has produced globally recognized tech companies and one of the highest startup rates per capita anywhere in the world. And Estonia actively recruits foreign talent. For skilled New Zealanders in software engineering, cybersecurity, AI, cloud computing, data science, design, digital marketing, product management, or fintech, there are increasingly pathways into the Estonian and broader European tech ecosystem. A smart strategy some people are now using is, first establish e-residency, then operate as a contractor or consultant, build relationships with EU startups, and later transition into full employment sponsorship or long-term residence pathways. And because New Zealanders are generally native English speakers with highly respected passports, they often integrate more easily into international companies than many applicants from heavily restricted countries. Another reason this matters is geopolitical diversification. Many New Zealanders historically only looked at Australia, the UK, or maybe Canada, but the world is becoming more multipolar. Europe remains enormously important economically and technologically, and having some kind of foothold there, even digitally, can be strategically valuable, especially for younger New Zealanders who increasingly work online anyway. Now, does this mean everyone should rush out and get Estonian e-residency? No. If you only work locally in New Zealand, have no international ambitions, no remote business, no interest in Europe, and no desire for optionality, then it may not matter much for you. But if you are internationally minded, entrepreneurial, remote working, or thinking long-term, this is one of the cheapest and easiest ways to begin creating a genuine international presence. And importantly, you don't need to leave New Zealand immediately. You can build all of this gradually. That's the key mindset shift. The future belongs to people with options. Not necessarily people who permanently leave New Zealand, but people who build international flexibility, multiple banking relationships, multiple jurisdictions, multiple income streams, multiple residency possibilities, and international business structures. And Estonia's e-residency can quietly become one small but powerful piece of that larger strategy. Because in a world where borders, taxation, banking access, and migration policies are constantly changing, the people with pre-built infrastructure are usually the people with the most freedom. And for many New Zealanders, this may be one of the easiest entry points into that world. If you found this video valuable, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, because we break down real immigration pathways, real strategies, and real insights so you can make the right decisions without falling into common traps. And our expert team and associates can assist you to simplify this entire complex process and guide you from start to finish with complete peace of mind. No worries. Do get in touch with us. Now on our WhatsApp mobile number +6 42217860007, also provided in the comment section of this video, and we will get in touch with you as soon as possible. Your journey deserves the right start, and it starts with the right consultation. And now you have it. Thank you for watching.